Revenge is a fundamental part of that culture. It's all about honor and shame. It's not about right and wrong. Violence against non-Muslims is rooted in Islam, whether we like it or not. We do.
Hey everybody, got an interesting one for you today. I've started following this guy, Mosab Hassan Yousef. His father founded Hamas. His father founded Hamas, and he has since left Islam and left his father. His father disowned him, all because he learned the truth. He was a radical. He wanted to kill Israelis. He wanted to kill Jews. It was his life's, ambition. How many Jews could he kill? That was all he was taught. It's all he knew. So I think this is a very good video to share with everybody, and I hope you enjoy it. I will break in from time to time with my 2 cents, as anybody would expect. And all right, here we go.
The fact that Hamas used their own children as human shields should not give Hamas a ticket to more power and to more territory and to more money. My name is Mosab Hassan Yousef, and this is my story.
Well, that's a nice little opening line there. Yeah, I like that.
I was born in the West Bank of the Jordanian River. I was brought up in an Islamic religious family. My father was a Muslim Brotherhood leader. Later, he became a Hamas leader. And the honest truth, he was very good dad. He loved me within the best of his ability. My parents told us that we were going to heaven. And the non-Muslims, the Jews, the Christians, the rest of the world, if they don't convert to Islam, they are doomed.
We're doomed. That's interesting. I find it interesting that even though his dad was a terrorist leader, a terrorist organization leader and member of the Muslim Brotherhood, he's still a good dad. I guess some things are universal, no matter where you are, no matter what you believe. I don't know why, but that kind of sits with me a little funny. I don't know if I had a good dad, wasn't perfect, but he was pretty good. And I don't know how I would have felt about him although then again, I have a whole different set of morals and different morality than people from that area of the world. And I think most Americans do, to be honest. I mean, if you think about it, we are not exposed to the kind of depravity and evil that runs rampant around the planet. We have no idea what a lot of these people are experiencing and what their life journeys must look like. So it's easy to not understand how a guy like Mosab could be radicalized. I mean, it wasn't radical for them. It was about as radical as preferring football over soccer for Americans. Sorry, but I prefer football over soccer. Most of the world doesn't see it that way, but that's okay. It's all right. They'll come around. We'll convert them. All right, here we go.
To hell. When I was a child, I witnessed lots of killing. and violence. There was no government, lots of chaos and disorder. People were literally killing each other in the streets. I'm talking about internal Palestinian conflict, where a father would actually kill his daughter, or a brother would kill his sister for honor. I was beaten up in the school, on the hands of the principal. I was beaten up in the street. I was beaten up on the hands of the imam at the mosque. It was not easy for a child. Wherever you go, you just have to survive. I was always running for my life. There was a Muslim Brotherhood and the summer camps, which I would participate in those camps.
That's interesting. So they were grooming you from the beginning. You know, make your life as miserable as possible. Everybody beats you up. Your teachers beat you up. Your doctors beat you up. Your freaking religious leaders beat you up. So when do you stop getting beat up? When you become a terrorist. All of a sudden, you're not getting beat up anymore. Now you get to do the beating up. I could see that being a big draw from somebody from that from that part of the world and that life experience. You know, I could see that being a big draw. I got beat up a lot when I was a kid. A lot. I grew up in Hayward, California, which when I was a kid, when I was real little, wasn't that bad, but it didn't take long. By the late 80s, early 90s, Hayward was almost as bad as Oakland.
With my father. And the Muslim Brotherhood was actually preparing a generation of warriors. I did not understand. The Muslim Brotherhood was actually preparing a generation of warriors. On the hands of the principal, I was beaten up in the street. I was beaten up on the hands of the imam at the mosque. It was not easy for a child. Wherever you go, you just have to survive. I was always running for my life. There was a Muslim Brotherhood and the summer camps, which I would participate in those camps, go with my father. And the Muslim Brotherhood was actually preparing a generation of warriors. I did not understand that that was preparation for the birth of a militia.
Yep.
At the beginning of Hamas was a very secretive movement. So my father...
Americans have no idea. You know, even myself, I probably couldn't fathom what kind of training or, you know, I don't know if they've, maybe it was training. I don't know what he means by creating warriors. So just, you know, was that part of the reason why you got beat up every day, to make you tougher and to grow your viciousness, you know, like planting a seed of hate and violence from the moment you're born, hoping it grows into something terrible. Interesting.
At the beginning of Hamas was a very secretive movement, so my father did not talk about that or his involvement with Hamas, even though he was one of the founders of Hamas. Hamas invested lots of work in indoctrination. When you recruit people by the name of the nation and by the name of God, you can...
Doing the same thing here in America. Indoctrination. That was the whole main reason, whether you know it or not, or believe it or not. It's the main reason why we had to get rid of the Department of Education. And even though it's been abolished, technically, it's not gone. It hasn't. It still has holdouts. It still has, you know, support and its own unions and stuff like that. It's not gone, and they're not going to go away easy, because that is their whole foothold into the future, is getting into our children's heads, convincing them that they are something other than Americans, changing their personal identity to fit into a box that they can control. They can move the pieces around if they can convince these people that they belong in this box. Put yourself in this box. You identify as LGBTQ. All right, we got a box for you. You identify as communist and socialist. We got a box for you. And we're going to stick everybody in their boxes. That way we can control them easier. Individuals are difficult to control, like myself, not easily controlled. Unjabbed, didn't take the vaccine, didn't take that shot. I wasn't gonna, even if it meant I couldn't fly on a plane or get on this cruise and my wife was going to be angry. There was nothing that they could do to make me take it, short of holding me down and stabbing me against my will. It's the only way they were going to get me to take some experimental drug. I have never shot up any drugs in my life, and I'm not about to let them come over here and tap a vein and shoot some experimental drug into me. Nope. Done my fair share of stupid stuff, but I've never done any kind of intravenous drugs. And I mean to keep it that way. And I don't trust the government. And none of you did either. None of you did, especially you left-wingers. None of you trusted the government until, it became cool to trust the government. Now it's like, cool, man. We got to trust the government because the government knows what's best for us, man. Well, yeah, they made marijuana legal, so I don't know any better anyways. So they are creating an entire breed of mind-numbed Americans that won't even call themselves Americans because they hate their country. Crazy. And it's indoctrination. It's indoctrination from the cradle to the grave.
In indoctrination, when you recruit people by the name of the nation and by the name of God, you can grow like wildfire. I became involved because I was following the lead of my father.
Well, that's where they messed up here, because they decided to get rid of God. They couldn't use God in a Christian country to justify evil, because it goes against every tenet of Christianity. So they got rid of God. They cut it out of the schools, cut it out of the pledge, tried to pull the 10 Commandments off of courthouses, demolish statues and paintings, and because Jesus Christ is the biggest threat to the left wing and, the ideology, the utopian ideology. That's what I call it. They believe in some sort of fantasy utopia, which is technically impossible. You cannot have a utopia, not without ridding the world of anybody that disagrees. The only way you can have an utopia. A utopia, everybody falls in line and everybody's happy with it. Well, I'm sorry, but this is the human race. We ain't going to be falling in line and being happy with it. And even those people who think that they're going to make it in the utopia, and they carry in the utopian ideals all the way through the gates of their utopia land. Oh. I just got hella distracted. Okay. So, I can't even remember what I was saying. I got to get my studio built. Trying to do streaming in my living room. And, of course, even if I'm talking to the computer, people still got to come out and do whatever it is they got to do. So I need to get out of this living room. I have a whole new room built over on the side. Well, not new. It was built when we built this house, but it's soundproofed. It was the guitar room for the homeowner. And that's going to need to be my studio. I can't be in here having these distractions. I thought, because I have these earphones on. I have these earphones on, and I hear sound, from what I could hear, sounded like a big belch. Thought my daughter came in and just ripped a big old burp, but it was my helper, my roommate, putting ice in his cup. I'm like, did you just burp? Oh my God. All right. Okay. So carrying on. Forgot what I was saying, so we're just going to get back into the video. I'm going to back it up a little bit, and maybe that'll refresh my memory.
When you recruit people by the name of the nation and by the name of God, you can grow like wildfire. I became involved because I was following the lead of my father. My father is a revolutionary leader, a religious leader, and I want to be that. I don't want to be the follower, I wanted to be the leader. We thought killing for the cause was totally justified. We were taught that there were no Israeli civilians at all, that everybody was a soldier. They could twist any scripture to serve their political agendas.
Yep. All Israelis were soldiers. Every one of them deserved to die. That's what they were taught. There was no innocent Israelis. There was no innocent Jews. There was no, women and children. Basically, everyone was a soldier, and everyone needed to die. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
The PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, they invested lots of money and lots of energy in turning the Palestinians or the Arabs in the West Bank and in Gaza Strip to disobey Israel, to erupt violence, to launch the Intifada, ethnic cleansing committed by Hamas. They thought fighting Israel from within is a lot more effective than fighting Israel from abroad. Suicide bombing attack waves, stabbing attacks and mass shooting start happening. And this is when Israel had to do extreme measures and prevented many Arabs from the West Bank to cross into Israel because they didn't know who was a suicide bomber and who wasn't. So we heard about all the stories of the freedom fighters, having the guns and just shooting the occupiers, colonizers. So we wanted to follow that lead. We wanted to be the tough guys. And this is how I got in trouble.
Look at that smile. This is how I got in trouble. Yep. That's a crazy way to live, man. That is a crazy way to live. I'm going to back it up just a few seconds here. I think some of that needs to be seen again. That suicide bombers and people wonder why Israel doesn't want to let these people into their country, even though Israel is the only country in the Middle East that actually where Jews and Arabs and Muslims all live together in the same place and work and live and worship together. Well, I guess they probably worship separately, but you know what I mean. They can be around each other and not be at each other's throats. It's the only place in the Middle East. And that is what Hamas and Hezbollah hate more than anything. Can't have those people commingling and getting along, because then their New World Order plans are gone. If that becomes the norm, obviously, you can't live in peace with somebody that you want to kill or unalive. I really do need to start watching the K word.
Is a lot more effective than fighting Israel from abroad. Suicide bombing attack waves, stabbing attacks and mass shooting start happening. And this is when Israel had to do extreme measures and prevented many Arabs from the West Bank to cross into Israel because they didn't know who was a suicide bomber and who wasn't. So we heard about all the stories of the freedom fighters, having the guns and just shooting the occupiers, colonizers. So we wanted to follow that lead. We wanted to be the tough guys. And this is how I got in trouble. I purchased guns even before I became 18 with actually intention to form a military cell. Israel was on our tail. The moment we got the guns, all of us were arrested in no time. My arrest was not easy. Unfortunately, I got beaten up by the Israeli soldiers, which basically against the Israeli law. But in war, there are violations, and I was a victim of that situation. And Israel was so desperate to know the masterminds of suicide bombing attacks. They had to put physical pressure on Hamas military wing. One of the Israeli intelligence recruiters, he offered me that we work together to stop suicide bombing attacks for the sake of humanity. And I was thinking to myself, this is my opportunity. I will just
say yes and play along. Sorry, my computer, the video started wigging out a little bit. So you heard that. An Israeli official was trying to appeal to his better nature, for lack of a better word, and see if he could reach across the aisle. See, that's something that only people with an enlightened religious point of view can actually do. I'm sorry, but if you're born and bred to hate and unalive people, then reaching across the aisle isn't something that you're capable of. And he wasn't capable of it either. At least he didn't think he was, not at first. Interesting.
Suicide bombing attacks for the sake of humanity. And I was thinking to myself, this is my opportunity. I will just say yes, and the moment they trust me, I'm going to destroy them. My first intention was to be a double agent against Israel, not to work for Israel.
Yeah.
And I thought I would just destroy them from within.
Yep.
When I was transferred to the main prison where other Hamas members were, I told Hamas my story. I told them I need support. I agreed to work with the Israeli intelligence.
I'm sorry, but I got to go back to that look in the camera.
And I thought I would just destroy them from within. When I was transferred to the main prison where other Hamas members.
Those eyes. I see people here in California looking with those same eyes. I tend to be very, very focused on what's around me. I observe very well my surroundings and the people in them and their mannerisms. And one of the things I really loved about the Jason Bourne movies is like, oh, I do that. Oh, yeah, I do that. Like I can't like memorize license plate numbers at a glance, but I notice things like that, suspicious activity or and I think that's one of the reasons why I don't get into more motorcycle accidents, because I'm not just looking at the cars. I'm looking in their mirrors. I'm looking at their eyes, and I'm looking at their heads, and I'm looking how many people are in the car. As I'm riding up and splitting the traffic, splitting lanes, I'm seeing in the car, not just that the car's there. I'm looking at everything, because I don't trust a single person especially when I'm on my motorcycle. I don't trust another person on the road at all. Everyone is out to kill me, or everyone is out to unalive me as far as I'm concerned when I'm on my motorcycle. So I'm super hyper aware. All right, here we go.
Where I told Hamas my story. I told them I need support. I agreed to work with the Israeli intelligence, and I wanted to just kill all of them. Everybody who laid hand on me. This is my intention. Now Hamas said, it was not convincing. So instead of helping me, actually, they started interrogating me as a suspect. So I told them, you must be out of your mind. I wouldn't betray my father. But they did not believe. And for about 16 months in Israeli prison, I struggled with this thing. They did not torture me, but it was during a time where they were torturing people for suspicion of collaborating with Israel.
Hamas was torturing people in Israeli prison?
Yes. It was like a nightmare. They were killing
Wait a
other
minute.
people for being suspects.
Wait a minute. Hamas was torturing people?
They did not torture me, but it was during a time where they were torturing people for suspicion of collaborating with Israel.
Hamas was torturing people in Israeli prison?
Hamas was torturing people in Israeli prisons. Huh. How's that work? That is a fascinating statement.
Yes. It was like a nightmare. They were killing other people for being suspects. But in my case, they did not touch me because of my father's reputation. Hamas leaders in prison weren't just any leaders. They were the top Hamas leaders. I met those people in person. I saw them in action. I saw their brutality, and they had no mercy. They had no mercy towards Israel. They had no mercy towards Palestinians. And they had no mercy without evidence. I came to the realization, the hard way, that if Hamas succeeded in destroying Israel and building an Islamic state, their state, it would be an absolute waste of life for something that is going to be only ugly. They tortured people, they made people create stories that weren't true. Hence, many people were killed and they were innocent people. It made me ask big questions about Hamas, their true nature, and their possible future. When I was released from prison, I thought to myself, on one hand, I cannot work for Israel because there is nothing in common between me and them. And I cannot work for Hamas anymore. But I was surprised when Hamas security wing came knocking.
Interesting. I'm going to go back just a little bit. I want to hear that again.
About Hamas, their true nature, and their possible future. When I was released from prison, I thought to myself, on one hand, I cannot work for Israel because there is nothing in common between me and them. And I cannot work for Hamas anymore. But I was surprised when Hamas security wing came knocking on my door to follow up on the case inside prison. There is no escape from these people. Wow. And I didn't know how to protect myself. The cause is the most important in that culture. Hamas choose their ideology over the well-being and the future of an entire generation. So,
wow. That deserves to be heard again.
Hamas choose their ideology over the well-being and the future of an entire generation.
Sounds like here at home. Yeah. Sounds exactly like the Democrats running the country into the ground, using the Department of Education to indoctrinate our kids into becoming lazy, obese, unproductive, and happy with it. To breed an entire generation of welfare recipients or people that believe they should be entitled to handouts. What happens to a country when the entire country, every citizen is standing like this with their hand out, wanting some more? Come on, give me some more. You got no more? Well, what the hell's wrong with you? You know, you need to get more for me. Yeah, it's crazy. And where are they going to get it? We're building an entire culture that only wants to take and not give. You know, you're not supposed to, was it JFK that said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country? That was a completely different frame of mind, completely different mindset. He was a Democrat, but sounds like an ultra right-wing conservative now. That quote, it has no bearing on the mindset of modern day liberals and Democrats. Interesting.
So my father is no different. And in fact, my father was the first to betray me. When he had to choose between the cause and his own flesh, his own son, he chose the cause. Israel came to follow up for my promise to stop suicide bombing attacks. And I was afraid that they were actually going to punish me for having the original intention of being a double agent. And the answer was, son, you don't have to worry about this. Many people start like this with us. You know, they hate us. It's part of your culture. You don't know who we are. But now you need to understand that your life is in danger. They said, we can help you with this. This is the least we can do. Their entire work was to protect me from Hamas. So for me, as a youngster, I came from a society of savages into the most advanced intelligence service in the world. So for about 4 to 6 years of a very serious work, we were able to deconstruct the Hamas operation in the entire West Bank. The payment, for me, it was the protection, because I did not trust Hamas anymore. I did not even trust my father anymore. And I was able to trust the Israeli intelligence because they did practical steps immediately of giving me cover, giving me the knowledge that I needed.
See, the great big evil Jews helped him, helped this guy who wanted to see them all unalive, see them all wiped off the face of the planet. And they already knew that that's what he wanted. That's what they all want. What they all want. Probably 99% of all the people in Gaza feel the same way. They all want from what was it? From the river to the sea. Made up Palestine shall be free. There is no Palestine. Palestine is a fabrication. And this guy here, he's the one that says it. I've been following him, and I am going to start showcasing his videos because he is one interesting fellow to follow. Talk about somebody who's seen and done it all. I mean, like literally. And now that he's, well, for a lack of a better term, I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but he's been saved. And he can't go back now. Can't go back. Once you've been saved, you can't go back to doing evil again. Can you? I mean, I suppose it's possible. But I think that you can't fully give your heart to a cause like that again. I don't think it's possible. All right, here we go.
The operation was very dangerous, and Hamas was already in suspicion of me. So I decided to just leave the territory. I could not go to any Arab country, and the best, most secure place was the United States. So this is why I migrated to the US. I thought something could happen to me, and I did not want my experience in the Middle East to go in void. So I felt the need to document it. And this is why we start writing the book. But I did not want my father to hear from the media or from the TV. So I called him. It was a short window while he was in Israeli prison.
Wow. Oh, I can only imagine what that conversation would be like. Sorry, I had to go stir my chili beans. I could smell them. I think they didn't stick. They didn't stick to the bottom, so we're good. Here we go.
And I told him the truth. It was the hardest conversation I ever had, I have to say. So when I told him the story, he went silent. I broke the silence. I told him, listen, Dad, if you want to disown me, you can go ahead. I know this is very hard on you, and I know that you have to protect my brothers. Because in that culture, if I wasn't there and my father did not disown me, other tribes have the right to kill any of my siblings.
Wow. Other tribes have the right to kill any of my siblings. They have the right. The right to do it. Make that make sense.
On my behalf. This is how brutal that culture. There is no mercy in this case. So he told me, this is not a choice. This is not an option. He said, you will always be my son and I will always love you. And this was his final words. 2 days later, I heard from the media that he disowned me, and this was the last conversation I had with him. It was very hard at the beginning. The guilt that came with it to get my entire family stained by shame while they still live there. This was the only part that was out of my control, because I was here in the United States and I was protected by a new country, by a new system that validated actually what I did from a moral point of view. But for the rest of my family, they were still there, and they had to deal with this for the rest of their lives.
Damn.
I understood the consequences of such a decision. It was my moral responsibility to write the book, and my entire life was sacrificed. Everything. All I was trying to do to save human lives, all I was trying to do is to see a higher truth than the conditioning of my society. Revenge is a fundamental part of that culture. It's all about honor and shame. It's not about right and wrong. Violence against non-Muslims is rooted in Islam, whether we like it or not. We don't want Hamas ideology and the Muslim Brotherhood ideology to spread. We have to counter it. That's part of our moral responsibility towards the world, especially our allies. Israel is a great ally. America as a superpower has a responsibility towards global security. We depend on the rest of the world. We depend on the Middle East, not only for energy, but we depend on the security and the stability of the region. Because if that goes out of control, our commerce, our way of life, everything that we do will be jeopardized.
Yeah. That's why we can't let Iran have a nuclear freaking weapon. These people will use it. And these are not weapons to be used. They're weapons to be not used, basically. They're seen, not heard. We do not want to get into a nuclear war. Yeah, that's a terrifying idea. I don't know how many of you can fathom what that would be like, but think Terminator, but without the robots, just a wasteland. Like the zombie apocalypse, but without the zombies. Although there probably would be something similar to zombies, people that hadn't died yet, that that weren't unalived in the initial blasts, and we were slowly melting away with radiation poisoning. Yeah, we can't fathom what that would be like.
That goes out of control. Our commerce, our way of life, everything that we do will be jeopardized. The fact that Hamas used their own children as human shields should not give Hamas a ticket to more power and to more territory and to more money. Hamas' goal is beyond the river and the sea, is beyond any political border, is beyond Israel. Hamas's aspiration is global. And if Israel fails to destroy Hamas in Gaza,
don't forget that Hamas's aspiration is global. Global. They want everyone, you, me, all of us, unalived, gone, or converted. They'll settle for conversion unless they don't consider you worthy of conversion, and it's entirely up to them. It's all up to their discretion. They can unalive you or they can let you live. It's up to them. You have no say. You, especially you as a Christian, or you as a gay or bi or lesbian or whatever, if you are anything that they consider to be immoral, you're not allowed to own dogs. Owning a dog could get you unalived. Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Here we go.
Is beyond Israel. Hamas's aspiration is global. And if Israel fails to destroy Hamas in Gaza, it will be the birth of an empire of savages. And we cannot allow this to happen. Because if Hamas succeed in bringing Israel to its knees, many other Islamists can do the same. And there would be...
I think that's what I'm going to have to name put the name of this video is Empire of Savages. Crazy.
So many of them. The Muslim Brotherhood is here in the United States. We see Islamists and communists marching together in the same street, having a common goal. And their goal is the destruction and the fall of the American civilization.
Yes.
How could any American not consider this as an immediate threat? Is this the time when the Allies abandon their friends? Just because we have some angry pro-Palestine thinking that this is a cool...
Indoctrination. There's a word, and it's indoctrination. Indoctrination. This guy, you guys are going to love or hate this.
Because we have some angry pro-Palestine thinking that this is a cool thing, exploiting the American freedoms, their anti-civilization, their anti-America, their anti-freedom. If Hamas laid down their weapons today, there will be peace. But if Israel laid down their weapons, there will be destruction of the Western civilization. This is why I speak as loud as I can.
Yes. Yes. All right, hang on. I want to go back. Anti-civilization.
Pro-Palestine thinking that this is a cool thing, exploiting the American freedoms, their anti-civilization, their anti-America, their anti-freedom. If Hamas laid down their...
Anti-civilization, anti-America, anti-freedom. Sounds about right. And the Democrat Party has become them. This is who they've become. They are anti-freedom. They are anti-American.
Their anti-civilization.
They are also anti-civilization. Look at Antifa, and look at the mainstream media not calling Antifa out for their violence and their extremism. And they might as well be Islamists. They might as well be Islamists. You know, this guy, Mosab here, what a brave man. What a brave man. He is probably wanted dead more than Charlie Kirk was. But, he's also, kind of knows what to look for, doesn't he? So, yeah, we need to pray for this guy. We need to pray for Mosab Hassan Yousef. Mosab Hassan Yousef. Got to pray for this guy. We need to take care of this one. He is going to be our inside man, into the inner workings of these organizations. So, thanks for joining me tonight, and thanks for watching. Please hit the like button if you could, and subscribe and share this video. I'm going to be doing more of his videos. I am fascinated by this guy. Fascinated. And I want to be more like Charlie Kirk. So I need to stop being worried about what people are going to think about me bringing these kinds of topics to the forefront. I just need to bring them and let the chips fall where they may. I know where I'm going. So, all right, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.